Hey everybody, it's Kyle. So I spend a lot of my time trying to figure out how I can help families that have kids on the autism spectrum. It's kind of my passion, and it's because we've had certainly some success in our family by implementing certain strategies and managing our homes in a way that allows us to really thrive as we raise our kids on the spectrum. And so I'm constantly, asking myself or wondering to myself, what can I say or what can I do that will be helpful? And so, as that as the starting point, I hope that you don't take this the wrong way, because sometimes the lessons we learned can be very harsh, and they may come across as harsh, but as long as you know that, we have 3 rules in our family we developed when we first started developing our curriculum for happiness. We developed 3 rules, and those 3 rules were: we were going to do what was right for our kids on the spectrum, even if it was really hard. We were going to do what was right for our family, even if it was really hard. And we were always going to do things in a spirit of love. And so, with that as a starting point, there's a lot of kids and a lot of parents that are now having problems with their kids and them getting addicted to video games. And it may not surprise you, but we had this very same circumstance. Our son got to where he didn't want to do anything but play video games, and it was affecting a lot of it's amazing. He can't seem to understand basic simple principles, but he can figure out how to win a incredibly sophisticated video game all by himself. He can figure out how to turn it on and work it and win it, even though he can't do basic things or seemingly do basic things. And so there was a time where he was getting too involved in his video games at the detriment of a lot of other things. And so we tried a few things. We tried hiding the video games. He searched them out and found them. We tried hiding the controllers. He'd wake up in the middle of the night and hunt them down and start them up and play them. I mean, it was becoming a real problem. And so, we did what we drew a bright line. And you've heard me talk about this before. You have to draw a line in the sand sometimes, and it needs to be a line that isn't crossed. And so, at the uncomfortable unhappiness of the rest of our kids, we have 6 kids. 4 of them are typical kids. We have 2 that are on the spectrum. We completely removed all video games out of our house, and that sent him into rages for a period of time. And I'm not going to get into the period of time, because for some of you it may seem short, for some of you it may seem long. It felt long, but knowing that this couldn't be something that monopolized his time, or it was going to be a problem long term for him, we bit the bullet and we did what was best for our son on the spectrum, even if it was really hard. And this was one of those really hard things. Daily meltdowns. He tried those to get his video games back. We wouldn't relent. We just removed them from the house. They were no longer there, so he couldn't play them. There was no way he could play them. And at some point, he realized he wasn't going to win that battle, and that he could earn the ability for us to bring video games back into our home should he meet certain requirements. And those of you that know Eric know he's not very verbal. He can make a lot of noise when he's unhappy, but he doesn't talk a lot. He can communicate slightly, but not very well. But it didn't really matter to us. I mean, we weren't gonna be a slave to him either playing video games or screaming and yelling and having a fit. So we drew a hard line in the sand, completely removed him from our homes, and it was one of those things where we're going to do what's right for our kids on the spectrum, even if it's hard. It was one of those hard things. I see all these families wondering how they can regulate, and this is where I don't want to come across as harsh, but a lot of families are asking, how do I solve this problem with video games? How do I regulate? For us, there was none of that. We removed them. We had to. We had to draw a line in the sand and say this was not going to be something that was a fallback. And the truth is, it was easy for us. It was easier to manage him when all he did was play video games. It was easy for us. My wife and I didn't even have to worry about him. We knew where he was. He was playing video games. We barely had to feed him, and he was just so engrossed in the video games. So, that was one of the issues where, it was easy on us to let him play video games or to reward him with video games or, run down that path of video games. But we had to do what was really hard. And I hope that if video games are a problem for you as a family, you'll take a deep look and you'll say, you know what? What's best for my child? And if it's best that he can't regulate himself and you can't figure out a way to regulate him, remove him. Fight that fight and win that battle. And then your child will know sometimes you have to do things that are hard as parents of kids that are on the spectrum. And one of those things might be to make yourself uncomfortable for a period of time to do what's best for your child. So hopefully that's helpful. That's our story about video games. You might be saying, yeah, but if I take away video games, he's going to go ballistic. That's what happened to us. And we took him away. And now we don't have that problem. He plays them maybe once every couple of days for an hour or two. He generally plays them with his older brothers when they come home from college. So not really a problem for us anymore because we drew a line in the sand and took them away. So I know that's hard, but hopefully it's helpful. Have a great day. Bye-bye.